Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Checked Before. This time, Cathexis. Cathexis. Yeah, what am I talking about? It's a Voyager episode. Cathexis on It's All Been Checked Before. I'll tell you something else I'm talking about. I'm talking about this on Facebook. It's all been checked before. A lot of fun. Lots of, you might see the word Cathexis out there at time or two. You probably will. Right before you hear this episode. And as soon as you see Cathexis, that should register in your mind. Hey, I should follow these guys. Follow us. It's All Been Checked Before. Spelled just like it sounds on Facebook. Get in on the fun with us. And get in on the fun with this. This is Cathexis. Voyager. It's all been checked before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Your Voyager crew is here.
This is Steven.
Hey, I'm Shane.
Jimmy-Jerome. We're here to talk about, and forgive me if I mispronounce it, Cathexis? What are your first impressions?
My first impression was another holodeck episode?
Yep. That was my very first thing I wrote down.
I knew that would be Steven's.
Yep.
You know what Cathexis means? Did anybody Google it?
I thought I did, but I don't remember. I don't remember what it is, though. So I didn't.
It's an allocation of mental or emotional energy to a person, object, or idea.
I mean,
So-
that makes sense. That
Yeah, not a bad title.
Yeah.
But the act of directing your mental energy, yeah. Did you like the episode, though? Overall?
It was not my favorite. I'll say it wasn't a good start, obviously, but part of me knew we were going to jump out of there. I just didn't know how. And then it felt like definitely felt like a bunch of pieces of previous episodes from previous series. Is not quite light creatures, but beings that were getting in other people. The resolution of finding out that one of them was Chakotay and all that, I thought the backfilling wasn't too bad. The retroconning within the episode, I guess. But I always talk about, well, what's the mystery here? The reveal was okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it was definitely more of a like mystery kind of a thing of the classic it could be any of us.
Yeah,
kind of.
Mhm.
They did subvert that a little bit because it was really only one person the whole time. But we didn't know that till the end, which was pretty interesting. Yeah, I mean, overall it was definitely entertaining, I think. So I liked it.
I have to be honest, I didn't love it. I did not know it was going to drop out of the holodeck because, spoiler, we recorded these out of order, so we didn't get the... Next week, we're going to talk about what this episode is, so I didn't read the episode description, did not remember the episode by the name of it. And so we started the holodeck novel. I'm like, was this one of those Janeway holodeck adventures that I know we're going to have here coming up? And it wasn't. And I was like, oh, okay. So how does this tie in? Because when Next Gen always did like a weird holodeck start, that wasn't a holodeck episode, it always tied in some way to the main plot, or at least set up a character for something they were going to go through. This did nothing. The holodeck intro was completely useless because it tied into absolutely nothing. It was a long, extended intro. And honestly, like, half my alternate episode is about the holodeck because it would have been interesting. It felt to me like they were setting up a Sound of Music meets Beauty and the Beast. Like she's a governess coming in to a rough dad whose kids have suffered, but also there's a fourth floor you're not allowed to go into. So I'm like, ooh, I want this to be a musical. That's my alternate episode, a musical that combines Sound of Music and Beauty and the Beast holodeck episode. I think that would have been great. But we didn't get that. We got an episode that had nothing to do with the opening scene, which was really bizarre and weird and felt like kind of a waste of our time that we had that giant, long holodeck intro. And then it was just confusing. And the fact that the Native American stuff that we now know was all made up BS because they hired somebody who wasn't a real Native American to advise them on Native American traditions and stuff. It all hurt. And also some of the logic of this episode didn't make sense. So I did not enjoy it. I have to say it was a stinker of an episode.
Oddly, I was reading the Digital Fix. Didn't say this was the worst episode of the series, but thought it was the weakest one of season one just because it was another Nebula, another this, another that. And I thought she was going to talk about coffee again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was no coffee in this Nebula.
Yeah,
Not this
but
one.
oddly, I almost was like, you know what? I wish we stayed in the Holo novel. But actually, my alternate episode is that Chakotay is inhabiting everyone's body, but just for fun. So he's making them do weird stuff, kind of a red kryptonite kind of a thing. And so everyone's acting strange as they were one at a time or two at a time, I guess. But so that's my alternate F is more fun rather than what was happening here.
Definitely be nice if this was a fun episode. It was not. I have to say there weren't good moments. It just overall did not do it for me. We started out, as we mentioned, with the Holo episode of the holodeck program. It was a Holo novel.
Yes.
And we had a couple of notable guest stars in this sequence. We had Michael Cumpsty playing Lord Burleigh. He's best known for Severance, where he's played 7 episodes as Doug Grainer.
Yeah.
He was the security. He was the security guy.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also known for The Ice Storm, Eat, Pray, Love, and State of Grace. Other than Severance, I haven't seen those things. He's got 50 credits, but it doesn't look like most of them are like one-off guest spots. It doesn't look like he's really had like a ton of success here.
With the name like Michael Cumpsty, he can be from nowhere else but England. I mean,
I was going to say nowhere else but porn.
Well,
he will reprise the role of Lord Burleigh in a second episode next year. So I guess we'll revisit this Holo novel at some point. And then we had Mrs. Templeton, played by Carolyn Seymour, who's best known for Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Congo, Mr. Mom, and The Ruling Class.
Yeah.
Also still active. A lot more credits than the other guy, but not like a lot of... She has a lot of Doctor Who audio adventures in the last few years. Well, not just the last few years. She's done a lot of Doctor Who audio credits and podcast stuff for a long time. Video games.
3 episodes of TNG, I believe.
Was she?
Yeah.
I'm looking right now. She auditioned for the role of Beverly Crusher on TNG. I see that. In Voyager, she has 2 episodes. They are the same 2 episodes as Mr. Burleigh. And both are Mrs. Templeton. So yeah, it's gonna be a reprisal. You're right. She did 3 episodes of TNG in season 2 in Contagion. She played a Romulan, Sub-Commander Terrace. In season 4, in First Contact, she played Marasta Yale. And season 6, Face the Enemy, she played Commander Torres, which was a different Romulan. So she's played a Romulan twice.
Yeah, I loved her in Face of the Enemy. That's right. How could I forget?
Yeah. So
I'm again amazed how often that. Well, actually, I shouldn't be amazed because I'm usually the one bringing that episode up. But here it is again, Face of the Enemy, making another appearance on this podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll come back to that novel. I can't say I'm excited to go back to that novel. It just, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was ancient England. Just, I don't know. It was kind of dumb to me. I mean, seeing Janeway so out of her element of like, I mean, not totally out of her element because she was putting Mrs. Templeton in her place, but also just she seemed very subservient, which isn't Janeway. So it was weird.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's always that thing of like, like the Robin Hood episode with Q. I didn't necessarily love that episode, but it's always fun. It was fun to see all those guys and those get-ups. So if you do it once a season, that's fun.
Well, you say that, like how fun it was to see in the get-ups. But Janeway gets the urgent call that Tuvok and Chakotay are injured, and before she gets to the sick bay, and granted, it could take a little bit of time to fly to them and get them on board. We don't know. It wasn't clear. But she did go and change clothes. And I feel like we should have gotten a scene of her in sick bay in the outfit, right? We've seen that next gen.
Yeah.
Just felt off. So Chakotay his brain has been drained or he's brain dead.
I wrote brain drain. It's a real thing.
Right? It's not entirely clear to me how he could have his brain completely drained and be brain dead, and yet his soul still survives somewhere and can go stay in other places. Because did these creatures feed off of brain energy? So shouldn't he not be still alive too? I don't know. That part didn't make sense to me. But then B'Elanna comes to sickbay, and she's somehow making stones stick to a cloth that's hanging on the wall, which to me was the most science fiction aspect of it. I'm like, how are those stones staying up? But then, like, the medicine wheel, again, as we know, total BS. I don't know. I guess because I already know how BS the Native American stuff is, I cringe when they get to it, and it was rough.
As soon as they started talking about that and doing all that, I wrote down, where the hell is this episode going? And then not long after that, Janeway, almost to be internalizing it or whatever, or be on the inside, says, what the hell is going on here? Which is pretty much my sentiment at this point. It's like, what are we doing? And then we finally, we start to get into, well, we kind of start to head that way. And some of the, a couple of the, not quite reviews, but, reception, whatever, the Wikipedia reception section, some of the people likened it to like a haunted house kind of thing, which some of that, if you look at it from that aspect, it works a little better. It doesn't necessarily redeem it for me, but it definitely, that all makes sense that it's, who's zooming who and all that kind of stuff. But even then, I was like, I want to go back to not knowing what the hell was going on.
Well, what was really, really strange about that scene was the doctor came in and he's like, what are you doing? And it was very much like I actually give the writer credit here. I was all set up for the doctor to lecture Torres about, oh, this stuff never works, blah, 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 which honestly should have been what he did because we know it's all BS. But instead he goes, no, I know how this works and you're just doing it wrong. And I appreciated that twist on it, even though it's like, oh, but there is no right way to do it because it's made up. Just had a ghost in her room, which I was expecting, because we saw the bed, I was expecting something at bedtime, which is probably good that didn't happen. And then I guess we know that she's telepathic now. I know we've had hints of this before, but I feel like we haven't got into it deep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was weird.
Yeah,
because then she goes and tells Neelix. She's like, I feel weird. This thing happened. And his response, typical male response is this another one of your weird things? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay.
I took it as jealousy. I took it as he was jealous that somebody else had been in her room.
Yeah, that was my favorite. She said, I think there was someone in my room. And he's like, who was it?
Was it Paris? I told you to stay away from Paris.
That's that.
Gotta chill out, man. Yeah. Not are you okay? Who was it? I don't know. I sensed someone in the room, not physically someone who was in the room.
Yeah, what he said was, oh, your telepathic senses again. Is this like last week when you were in the sick bay and you knew Lieutenant Hargrove had been there, only he'd left hours before? You're like, oh, not this again. But I kind of missed the other part there. But Neelix.
So we get to the bridge.
His hat he wears, his cooking hat.
Obviously he gave that to himself. So
yes.
We get to the bridge and the ship changes course, unbeknownst to anybody, and they turn to Paris. And man, he sure did seem guilty for a second. I don't know why. I was just like, man, you're protesting too much. But I guess he has been accused of crimes in multiple episodes now, so maybe he's just fed up with being accused of crimes he didn't do. But Janeway, it almost seemed a little bit patronizing, like, oh, I'll rule out mutiny for now. He. Let's laugh about it. It's like, I do think she believed him. I mean, why wouldn't she believe him?
Yeah.
But my thought, of course, was this is definitely going to have some memory stuff to it. And then, of course, it happens with the Torres as well. So we get the little brain scans. I thought those graphics were pretty good. And I thought that explanation was pretty good of how they figured out what was going on.
Yeah.
To go back to Paris for a second, where and when did Paris grow up? Because he starts talking about what I wouldn't give to see good old Doc Brown right now.
Sure seems like he grew up in a rural community, doesn't it?
Yeah, lollipops in the waiting room, no holocomic books more than 6 months old, house calls. What kind of... He grew up on Earth, right?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
In maybe remote Africa or Asia or something?
He actually grew up in the 1980s in a town with a clock tower. And
that was the other place I was going.
No, I was looking. We know he was in jail in New Zealand when we met him. We know his father was an admiral. I don't think we know where exactly on Earth he would have been raised. I'm looking here, but I don't on his memory alpha entry. Yeah. And it does not give it does say that most of his early family was salt of the earth farmers and colonists. He did have some relatives that flew orbital gliders over on Mars when it was early. But given that his dad was an admiral, he may have just stayed on Earth because admirals often stay on Earth. It does say in his backstory they took a shuttle out for a joyride and ended up landing at the bottom of Lake Tahoe. So that might give us some clue of where he was. I don't know. But then, of course, there was that shuttle accident when he was in the academy where that person died and then he covered it up. Oh, wait, that was his other character. The doctor is the one who's immune, so they're going to trust him again. I kind of wanted more of that. Like, I know we just had it last week with the Heroes and Demons story. Or not last week, but last Voyager episode. But I wanted to see the doctor in command and questioning them, and I was a little disappointed we didn't get anything like that. I will say it was really smart of the energy creature to take out Kess, because, you know, she clearly was on to him. So let's take out the person that's going to figure out my plot before I'm ready to have it revealed.
Yeah.
I like when Tuvok's like, well, perhaps if I mind meld, if I could initiate a book of mind meld with her, I may be able to help her focus his abilities, whatever. And he's kind of talking about her like she's not there. But fortunately, she says, I'm willing to do that because consent is important when mind melding. And we've seen a lot of people get mind melded without consent. Sometimes it has to happen, an emergency has to happen. But
sure.
But I'm glad they got consent, even though it didn't really help anything, right?
No, because Tuvok was evil.
That's right. When they said she had the things around her neck, in my mind, and maybe it's just from how easy it always happened in TOS when Spock did it, but like a Vulcan nerve pinch wouldn't necessarily leave abrasions. That they just knew.
Not unless you do it really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, when the thing was on her neck, I was already suspecting Tuvok, and I don't think I'd seen this episode, so I was very green to it.
I guess this is just coming to me in the moment, but I guess it's possible that the alien creature was like, well, I can do a Vulcan nerve pinch. I'm in a Vulcan, but maybe they didn't really quite have it down. So they weren't able to perfectly execute it. So maybe that's why she had all the abrasions and everything.
Yes. Jim, in the conference room meeting, when they suspected him of being taken over, I wasn't fully clear if he was daydreaming or actually taken over, but I guess that's part of it. Like, let's make us paranoid and questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a real lackluster response. Just like, what happened? It's like, I was just thinking. No, pretend no, sorry, no, that was right. I was lost in thought. Like, I promised I wasn't taken over. No, he just it's very confusing. Was he? I still don't know, and I
don't think he was, but it did leave you with questions. Neelix in his sickbay scene acting all paranoid in front of the doctor. I mean, a lot of characters were paranoid in this episode. I might have liked his paranoia scene best because he said some of the things you guys mentioned, but then the doctor calmed him down and they gave the doctor another uncomfortable hug the same way he gives Tuvok uncomfortable hugs. And I was like, oh, Neelix's personality, it was very consistent with how he was. And I thought Ethan Phillips did a good job, even as I was a little bit annoyed with the character. So, but he had reason to be scared and annoying at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then the energy creature not only takes a Kess, but takes out the doctor because, going to take out all the things.
I thought before he did that, I was like, oh man, 2 doctor episodes in a row where he gets to be kind of the hero. Like, wow. And then they, sidestep that too, which, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I watched last week's, I watched them back to back. So, I was like, oh man, these are really similar. And then this one wasn't. Twice it wasn't.
Yeah. The scene on the bridge where they were all attacking each other. Janeway attacking Tuvok, and then Paris attacking Kim, and then Tuvok attacking everybody. That was a good action sequence.
Oh, yeah.
It really kept you guessing. I liked that scene.
And then, is that the one that ends with, Tuvok stunning the whole crew? And I was like, can you set a phaser to mass dispersal? And then later, they pretty much say, that's what happened. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. All right. Never seen it done. At least I don't remember seeing it. Not in quite that fashion. But why wouldn't you always set it to that?
I mean, that's a great question.
Gotta charge them.
If it's you and there's 15 aliens, you're gonna go mass dispersal every time. Stun them.
You'd think.
I mean,
there's Paris reared his head again because the doctor and Kess were taken out. So, of course,
Yeah.
he's the only person
Yeah.
left on the ship that has even a little bit of medical knowledge.
Mhm.
And at this point, they kind of trust him to be pilot anyway. So this is actually maybe the best use of Paris as nurse that we got in the series
Yep.
thus far. And then Taurus finds out that there's no other ship and Tuvok's lying the whole time. How early in the episode did you suspect Tuvok was lying? Because mine was pretty early, but I kept wavering on whether I was right or not.
Yeah, I guess to me, I was thinking, okay, does it keep going back to Tuvok, or like were there two entities floating around? Yeah, like
There were two entities. You were right.
yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I ever was like, oh, it's definitely Tuvok. He's being suspicious. Maybe once in the doctor's office, that seemed a little like, once that happened, I'm like, shoot, it might be him.
The moment for me where I was like, oh, it's definitely Tuvok was when he accused Janeway of being paranoid. I was like, oh, you're okay. Yep. You're okay.
I first started thinking when he started pulling the logic card, he's like, we are merely following a line of deductive reasoning. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not.
I mean, he was, though. It was the logical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
But that's what I
was
first thought. It might be
Yeah.
something.
Alien wants them to avoid the nebula, or wants them to go into the nebula.
Mhm.
The attacker wants them to avoid the nebula. So, okay, that
Yeah.
was good deduction and good reasoning, especially because they didn't even have Tuvok to do the reasoning. But I did not see coming that Chakotay was the good alien. I still thought it was like,
Yeah.
oh, this alien species disagrees on whether they should attack others or not. To have it be Chakotay was a surprise to me.
Did you guys like the camera effect of it swooping in behind somebody to show you that they were entering this person?
I think it was unnecessary. They took, anytime in a procedural like that where you can start doing something different, maybe because it gets exciting. But yeah, it's like, okay, we get it.
That was one of our regular directors, Kim Friedman. So
yeah,
she done a lot of track.
That was one of the responses too. It was like, well, it's not a great episode, but the directing, they tried real hard or whatever. And I'm denigrating it in that way, but they were like, yeah, they thought they did some. Oh, yeah, made good use of the actors to maintain a haunted house atmosphere, so they appreciated that. Given the relatively thin storyline, that's
yeah. I don't think the directing was bad.
Yeah.
I give them that. The writing, a story by Brannon Braga and Joe Manosky, teleplay by Brannon Braga, that disappoints me. I feel like those people are stronger than this. Yeah. I know Brannon Braga, post Star Trek, has had did have, like right after Star Trek kind of went off the air, because he went to Enterprise after this. He did some sci-fi shows that lasted like one season and flopped and didn't make a lot of sense, so maybe he's not as good as I would think. But he co-wrote Star Trek Generations and Star Trek First Contact, and ended up being one of the big people on Voyager near the end and a big person on Enterprise, so it kind of disappoints me that this is him. But oh well. Did anybody else get like weirded out that Lieutenant Durst, Brian Markinson, all of a sudden had all these lines? I'm like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Why is it not Lieutenant Carey or something? Who's this new guy?
I wrote down he's like, because he got to he, like you said, he got a lot of lines. I'm like, and why is he like, is it just like, well, this is the one guy that's not possessed? And the way he was saying things reminded me of Tony Hale's Veep character. He's always like, by the way, this is what's going on right now. And, oh, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, he was fine, but I was just like, why is this guy important right now? And I think he's only in one more episode.
He is only in one more episode. He was in an episode of Next Gen in the final season. He played a character named Vorin in the episode Homeward, which I don't remember at all. And he will do an episode of Deep Space Nine later in Deep Space Nine's run as a Dr. Geiger in season 5. But yeah, it definitely felt like you're setting up a new recurring character. But he's in the next episode of Voyager, and that's it. So, the actor, though, Brian Markinson, looks familiar to me. He's best known for Painkiller, Tribal, Mad Men, and Shooter. I think I remember him best from Continuum, where he was one of the lead characters. Canadian science fiction show.
Yeah, I love that show.
He's been in.
Yeah,
three
me
Woody
too.
Allen
I need to
movies.
finish the final season, but I've
Mhm.
seen most of
Maybe
it.
he's a New York actor because he was in.
He was also in Battlestar Galactica and Caprica. He was in one of the Battlestar Galactica like TV movies after the series went off the air, but he was in like 13 episodes of Caprica. So he's got some sci-fi cred. He actually has a ton of IMDb credits. A lot of reoccurring characters. He's got guest spots too. But 171 credits total. Still active.
Yeah,
in
he had
2025.
small roles in Sweet and Lowdown, Small Time Crooks, Curse of the Jade Scorpion, 3 turn of the century Woody Allen movies.
When I look at him, I know exactly who he is, but I have to say in this episode, he did not look like he has looked for the last 20 years. So I didn't make the connection right away.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of work after this that makes him more familiar looking to me.
He was a New York actor until the end of the 20th century when his family moved to Vancouver, which explains
Well, it looks
why
like his
that's got to go
all
with
the Canadian
all the
shows.
Canadian shows.
Yeah.
It looks like his first IMDb credit 1990 and then a couple 91. So this was early in his run, and he's had a ton since then. So,
And he was in, you probably already said this, he was in Fargo.
I didn't say that.
But I think it's the TV show. He was in the TV show.
I love the TV show, but I'm not current on it. Oh yeah, he was in season 1, which I definitely watched. The first 2 episodes of the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's done all right for himself.
Yes, very well.
Janeway's bad guy to all this other great stuff. Good for him.
So Chakotay wasn't in the episode at all, but he ended up being the one that saved them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're Robert Beltran, are you excited for the week off? Are you happy that your character actually was the catalyst? Or are you sad that you just laid in a hospital bed and had 2 scenes?
Didn't he disappear
sure.
last week too? Wasn't he one of the people that disappeared last week? Or maybe I'm going back a few weeks.
Like partway through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The last note here is I was really disappointed that there weren't visuals of the warp core being ejected and then floating in space and then being recovered. I know later in the series we'll see that, and that's what made me upset because I remembered it and I was like, oh, we're going to see it. That was a cool shot. Nope, we're not going to see it now. We'll see it later. But it reminds me of like why Next Gen never showed the saucer separating hardly ever because it was budget. And I'm like, you even had a scene with Torres in engineering, but the camera purposely didn't pan over to show you the warp core was missing. And I'm like, just pan over and show us the warp core missing. But I guess you probably couldn't do that build.
I wrote down, I was like, I feel like we're on a run of ejected warp cores that didn't seem to happen back in the day. Although I know we're not that many years in, but we are. But I feel like this is like the 3rd or 4th time, but maybe I'm also including current Trek in that, or newer Trek, I should say. That might be.
I don't remember hearing about the warp core being ejected before this. I feel like this was the first time in Trek, but it has happened again subsequently, so I don't know. My other alternate episode is I thought this would have made a good movie. Like if you really ramped up the tenseness, I don't think it was well executed here, but I think if you expanded this into a 90-minute thing, I feel like I've seen movies in the late 90s, early aughts that are similar to this. That you could really make it a thriller movie, or suspense movie. But oh well.
Yeah.
Mulgrew doing some great, what I'll call, and I may have mentioned this before, and maybe this was just of the rage in the 90s. I've seen it recently, and for whatever reason, I attribute it to really good actors, but she was doing a lot of rapid eye motion, and which for whatever reason, that always draws me in. They mentioned that he's on a vision quest, and whenever they say that, I always think of the movie Vision Quest, where they say, he's on a vision quest, man. Oh, my one last note is just that neural energy, because they keep talking about neural energy. Neural energy is clean energy.
It's very clean.
Yeah.
Is it renewable though? Didn't seem to be until Chakotay, was fine.
Well, they had the magic medicine wheel.
Yeah. You got to start those human farms though to get.
Now we're into the Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the rankings then. Who are you having a drink with in Cathexis?
Paris.
Why?
First they were like, you're the bad guy. Then he was like, all right, well, you know what? I'll just be the doctor. So he's my drink and he's my inspiring. And maybe that is just I didn't want to choose Janeway again. And I appreciated Paris rising above the fray. Unlike the other, because I don't think he got possessed, right?
Yeah, well, he did.
Well, I guess he did.
A couple times.
We just didn't see it. Yeah.
Right, he was mine as well. Not inspiring, but drink. So
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah,
similar
yeah.
reasons, he's been falsely accused so much. I felt like he needed a friend of like, oh, you're not bad. I promise. We don't all think you're awful.
Mine was Tuvok.
Why Tuvok?
He could use it after that day.
That's true. He's gonna de-stress.
Mm.
Although it would not be logical. Who was your annoyance?
I know this might be laziness on my part, but it's Neelix.
Neelix for me too. Just it's the jealousy. It's the jealousy. It's like
I just did not like the way he treated her there.
yeah.
That's fair. I chose Chakotay because he talked about being able to hit. No, seriously, because he talked about being able to hit buttons on the panel and everything, but he never attempted to communicate with the crew.
Right.
He just kept trying to protect them. Where I feel like you could just tap out a message on the panel real quick if you can do that. Instead, he was all cryptic about it, and he didn't even try to like tell him, "Hey, it's me. Listen to me. This is what's going on," which would have solved the episode very quickly. And it's what he should have done if you could reach out and touch those things.
You're right. It's that meme of, he says, he just says, oh, by the way, you guys, I'm fighting another alien that's also possessing you guys, da-da-da. Roll credits. Maybe not right away. You still have to vanquish the other alien, but it would have cut out a lot of time.
It reminds me of how so many horror movies these days that are badly written could be solved if somebody had a cell phone whose battery wasn't dead or whatever, because it's so there's such an easiest, obvious answer. And I feel like once we knew Chakotay was the good ghost, he could take over minds and manipulate panels, so he could absolutely write them a message or lock the computer, and he didn't do it. Like, he could just take the command codes himself, right? And lock everybody else out, especially Tuvok, because he's ranked higher than Tuvok, but he did it. Instead, he just let it all play out. And that's where I'm like, dude, bad writing. Bad writing.
Roger Ebert used to have I can't remember the term for it, if it was just stupid people movie, but essentially it was that same concept of, especially in the era of slashers, and that's now become a trope, obviously, in a lot of spoofs of horror movies, but even in horror movies, you still expect people to do dumb things, and his thing, and he included other movies that weren't slasher movies or whatever, but essentially, if everyone in the movie wasn't an idiot, there's no movie. The movie's over. But everybody in the movie, or at least most of them, have to make the poorest decisions possible.
Yeah.
And not that doesn't happen in real life. But,
no, but it certainly seemed like that's what was going on with Chakotay here. What was your inspiring choice this week?
Mine was Paris, for him picking it up
you said that.
Yeah.
Mine was the Doctor 2 weeks in a row, because he was the one who figured things out, was ready to be in charge, and actually didn't blink too much, because last time when they asked him to do the mission last week, he was a little more hesitant, but I feel like he carried over confidence into this episode, which I liked.
Yeah.
And then also, apparently he did some really genius stuff that should rate a paper. My only quibble with him is, just because you think it's going to take 70 years to get home doesn't mean you shouldn't write the paper, because you're going to get home eventually. And it's not like this is something that's going to be solved in the meantime. Even if the crew doesn't live to get home, you'll be fine for 70 years. So I think you should have wrote the paper. That's my quibble. I still think I wish we got a little more, slightly more technobabble of explanation on why the paper makes sense. But, he did some really impressive things. And he freaking knew the BS soul map and didn't dismiss it, just said you're doing it wrong, which I thought, again, if we pretend it was real and pretend it did work, I admire him for that approach. So
yeah, he was mine as well, and for the reasons that you said, mostly the whole brain thing, where he's like, even after he said it, he kind of looked around like, okay, well, that would be impressive to medical professionals. I guess I'll go F off now. Like,
oh, poor doctor. He deserves better.
Yeah.
Ranking the episode, our bottom right now was the very last episode. I know Shane wasn't here to help us rank, but we have Heroes and Demons at the bottom.
That's fair. I would rank that successfully lowest as well.
Okay, so you're not going to argue with us. No. I think I'd go even lower for this. Tell me I'm wrong.
Oh, I'd rate this one higher than the last one.
Okay. Much higher or just slightly higher? Higher. I will say the next one above Heroes and Demons is Time and Again. This is definitely better than that.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry. Wait, that was definitely better than this. I said that wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Shane would have it second from the bottom. I have it the very bottom. And Steven's going to be our tiebreaker.
I think I would go. Oof. This is. Oof.
I thought at least Years and Demons had some logical sense to it that this one did not. Figuring out that like Chakotay could have just tapped out a message this whole time just ruined this one for me.
I was gonna go under with this, but then I thought I remembered Heroes and Demons a little better.
It's not good. I'm just saying.
You do have the Doctor asserting himself and all that, but I'm gonna go below.
Bottom?
And maybe this is just my holodeck crankiness, but I'm gonna go below. Yeah.
Well, very bottom then. Okay. Yeah, the holodeck scene in the beginning does not help the rankings because of how disconnected it was and how extended it was. If you want to give us a really fun, goofy holodeck scene for 30 seconds and then interrupt it, it doesn't have to connect. But if you're going to give us a 5-minute scene, it better freaking connect to the other 35, 40 minutes.
I guess it was setting the tone of the.
Slow?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Next week, the Deep Space Nine episode, Explorers. Sisko rebuilds an ancient Bajoran space vessel from the blueprints, and he and Jake take the ship on a trip, attempting to prove that the ancient Bajorans went beyond their solar system without warp drive. Oh. It's a history project, and he grows the facial hair that I've been waiting for 3 years for. Until then, live long.
If you're still you and who you say you are, and prosper.
It's All Been Done presents
Who's Got the Time?